Okay, so for Learning Task 3-2, the direct cost of healthcare in Ontario, diseases of the circulatory system. What I like about this course is you actually have similar assignments throughout the different units. So this is one that you're going to see this format a couple of times, but there'll be slight changes to how you do it, and I'll highlight those in the video when we get to them. So what you're going to do for this one is, let's go back up to the tour journal and I'll just open it up. And it'll just take a minute. Okay, so you would have done the first couple parts here, and then you get to this Learning Task 3-2, which is highlighted in the content area of the course, but I'm not going to flip back over to there. So how that works, if you scroll down, the directions are here. So Learning Task 3-2, direct costs of healthcare in Ontario, cardiovascular diseases is what we're looking at. So in this task, you're going to look at the direct costs of healthcare in Ontario, and you repeat this one for other categories of disease. So you end up referring to it later in the course. So what you're going to do is open up this website. So let's get our split screen going here. So we're going to open up this website, and then the directions are fairly specific. So it says, click on create a custom report. So that's right here. Click on create a custom report. You will only consider direct costs. Select one of the choices. So you only have to pick one of these things. So we're trying to figure out the impact or the economic impact of cardiovascular diseases in Canada. And this is like a Stats Canada website where we're going to pull the information from. So it doesn't matter which one of these you pick, but you need to pick one. So I'm going to say, let's do hospital care, ambulatory care. Okay. So under diagnostic categories, select diseases of the circulatory system. So right down here, we scroll down and we go diseases of the circulatory system. Good. So now we are on to step 5. Actually, we hit next, and then we go on to step 5. So let's just wait till it generates the next page. So basically what it's going to look like is it's going to give you a whole bunch of different diseases for your directions. It says to select them all. So we want to know about all these diseases of the circulatory system and their costs. So hypertension, all these things that are listed, right? Heart failure, blah, 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 all the good stuff. And then we're going to go to generate the results. So when you generate these results, your instructions then say copy and paste the results into your Google Doc below. So you would maybe open this up full page, and you're just going to highlight everything that comes up, and you're going to go Control C, maybe minimize that back out, and then you're going to paste it into your chart. Let's give it a second. There we go. Okay, so now that you've picked your one category, you've got a whole bunch of information about economic costs of these diseases in Canada. So if you have a look, you can see that it's divided up. You can enter this down. It's up to you to make it look better. But you've got data about males, you've got data about females, you've got data all together for both sexes. And you know that the cost component, the one thing that we selected was this area here. So that was the one place where you had choice. So when you go down to the bottom, these are just giving values that are money if you want to fiddle with your charts so that it looks a little better. Feel free to do that. Yeah, kind of looks nicer when you're talking about money to have it all show up proper. So you're going to pull that across. Oops, there we go. I think that looks better, right? And then you're looking at here the total cost for diseases of the circulatory system for males, for females, and for males and females. So then you have a few different questions that you're going to answer. So this is going to look different for every single person because I don't know which category you're going to choose. So what you're going to do is look at your data up above, and then you're going to answer these questions. So which diseases resulted in the greatest total cost to the healthcare system? If you're not sure what the disease is in non-medical terms, do some quick research. So you're just going to go back up. So which one had the greatest cost out of what we picked? So let's just scroll. So these ones are quite high. Oh, so these ones are really high. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. So conduction disorders and cardiac arrhythmias seem to be the ones that have come up with the most cost associated with them. So you would use that in your response. And then you can look up, well, what does that actually mean, right? So you could just do, if you don't know, so then you can do a quick Google search, right? So an arrhythmia is first sign of a conduction disorder. If left untreated, severe conduction disorders can lead to sudden cardiac arrest. The heart maybe suddenly stops. So you can look up a little bit of different information about what the disorder is, so it's talking about the conduction of the electrical impulses across the heart. So obviously, if the impulses across the heart aren't stimulating it to fire, then you're going to have big problems with pumping blood around the body, which is going to lead to lack of oxygen and all sorts of issues. Eventually, death if you're not getting oxygen out into the body. So you could see why something like a conduction disorder or an arrhythmia would be a big problem. And maybe the tech behind it just costs people a lot of money in order to fix that. So let's go down here. So we've identified which one has the greatest cost. And then we talked a little bit about what it is. So which sex accounts for the largest portion of the cost. So we would go back up here and we'd say, hey, look, males seem to have a lot more diseases of the circulatory system than females, which, interesting. I don't know. New information. And then for what diseases do females cost more compared to males? So you would look through, where do females ever cost more? So here's one, varicose veins. That doesn't surprise me, the lower extremities. So females are costing more there. So you could just list which ones the females were costing more. And then based on the data, what 2 recommendations would you have for a way to reduce the direct cost of healthcare? Explain your recommendations. So you're talking about the heart, you're talking about diseases of the heart. Think about the content that you've gone through in the course so far. What are 2 recommendations that you could make to better help decrease the impact of diseases of the circulatory system? So that's it for that assignment. And then you have to submit it to the assignment box for evaluation. So you can choose to either just copy and paste out this learning task to a new document, or you could choose to just go file and download the whole thing to me. When you submit this, it is going to go to, sorry about the up and down. it is going to go to Learning Task 3-2, direct costs of healthcare in Ontario for cardiovascular diseases. And you will notice we will repeat this assignment a couple of different times. I think we look at it with the digestive system, and I'm trying to think, probably the respiratory system. So it's kind of interesting because you're pulling stats that are relevant to us and where we live, and then putting that information together. So that'll come up under the assignment box. And we'll just wait for that to load. And it'll be when I open up 3-2, direct costs of healthcare in Ontario cardiovascular diseases.